We're going to look at some problems on page 8 of the second piece of Algebra 2, 1122. And I hope you had success working through the first 7 pages. It's like I said in the introduction, it is a little bit different. And there's some formulas to use. You got to plug in numbers. It's up to your parent or your teacher whether you are held accountable to memorize those formulas or whether you are allowed to write them out on a reference sheet. Even if you're studying them to memorize them, I would still write them out on a reference sheet, put them in color, label things so that it kind of stands out and it's a more easy to use formula. Okay? This one, the summation notation, is quite different than the other ones and uses sometimes a square, something squared, okay? I made up a problem and then one of these is from your homework. So I'm not going to take you all the way through, but we'll help you get it set up, okay? The summation, this looks like a weird Greek letter E. It actually is like an S for sigma. It means to add things up, summation. And so you first take whatever the variable, in this case the variable is m, and you start with the number on the bottom, and then you go through a series where you plug in the next number, which is 2, and then 3, and then you end with whatever number is on the top, okay? In this example down here, we're going to start with the variable being s. We're going to plug in 2 first of all, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5, and then stop with 6. And then whatever comes after that is the kind of like the formula that we're going to plug into. So let's take this made up example here and see what happens. I'm going to first take 1, and if I plug in, I get 3 to the 1 power, okay, which is just 3. Then we're going to add, okay, so this is not here, but this is what summation means. Take the first answer and then add to it the second in the series. So now we're going to use 2, so 3 to the second power. And you know that that is, no, it's not 6. 3 times 3, 3 squared is 9, so we'll add 9. And then 3 to the third power, the next 3, so 1, 2, 3, so that's 27. And then plus 3 to the fourth power, which would be the same as 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, 4 times, which is 81. Now, I noticed that in the PACE, and in the score key, they just leave the answer like this. So they write all 4, and then they don't add them together to get a sum. They just write it as a series of sums, okay? So some textbooks that I've used in the past, this is just one more step right before the very last step, and the last step is you actually add all of these together and get one number. But you don't have to do that, you just stop with this. All right, now let's take a problem like this, because this is a little more complex, and again, I'm not going to take you all the way through, but we'll get you started. We're going to use 2 in place of the variable s. So in this case, we're going to write, I guess I'll do it over here, okay? 2 to the second power plus, now we're going to plug in 2 again for s, plus 1. So now we can solve this. 2 squared is 4, 4 plus 2 is 6, 6 plus 1 is 7. So this whole thing becomes 7, all right? Now we're going to plug in the next number in this series from 2 to 6, so that would be 3. So now we're going to do 3 squared. You see what we're doing? Plus 3 plus 1. So now we're going to solve this. 9 plus 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13. All right, I'm going to let you continue that, but you're going to just follow this pattern where you're going to take now the 3. A 4, plug in 4 as the base here and here, and then plug in 5, and then plug in 6, okay? So you should end up then with a series of numbers all being added together. A little different. Again, it's just stretching your brain to do some things that you are not comfortable doing, that you've probably never done before, and writing the answer in a different format, so it's a little bit uncomfortable. But when you get right down to it, it's not really hard, it's just different, okay? And sometimes that happens in Algebra 2. It's not hard to do. It's just different enough that you're like, am I really doing this right? And so try your hand at it, check it at the score key, and see how you did, and hopefully did well.